Hi, I'm Dennis Thomas, president of Brechbuhler Scales. Today we're with Bryan Snyder, IT systems manager at Brechbuhler Scales, and a lot more. You're going to learn a little bit about Bryan and what he does. So to start, Bryan, how you doing?
Magical.
Magical, that's your word.
That is.
How long you been with the company?
17 years.
Okay. And before Brechbuhler, take me through, where were you?
Before Brechbuhler, I was doing hospital systems for a company in North Canton. And I traveled around the United States doing hospital information systems with like Pro systems and tennis systems and things like that.
Okay. What got you into IT?
I guess a passion for it. Got a computer early on and never really looked back. Just kept blowing it up and starting over. So
Perfect. So IT systems manager, that can mean a lot of things.
yes.
Why don't you give us an idea what you do?
Well, I start off the morning by washing the dishes and making coffee. But really, a little bit of everything when it comes to IT and the systems part of it. On the IT side, working with Joel and some of the other guys, on just the server stuff and support, making sure that the company's moving forward and for getting backups and things of that nature, typical IT stuff. And then on the system side, everything from writing scopes to help speccing out jobs, going and talking to customers, support. Really, there's a whole gambit of things that are required for both positions. So
Yeah. So 17 years ago, I believe there were two of us. Maybe
yeah,
there's 2.5.
it was me and you, Mike Johnston, and Terry up here, and Markle.
Okay. Yeah. So about 2.5 of us
Yeah.
in IT. Today, how many people do we have on staff in IT and systems?
We're at about 12 right now between systems and IT.
Okay. And that's internal applications, external applications.
Yeah, internal applications, external stuff, both internal support and external support as well would be included in that as well.
Hang on that a little bit. Since you started, what are some of the changes you've seen here at Brechbuhler?
So started off as Bryan, the IT guy, just doing general support, my computers hung up and things like that. So I've really got to see not only that part of it grow, the need as we continue to build the company and add employees. I think when I started, we were probably at like 180, 200, somewhere in there. Now we're pushing 300. So really watching the infrastructure grow on the IT side and that part of it, moving to support the DD line when we brought that on, helped the original developers and some of the other guys with the hardware stuff, became more involved with the scale side of the company and continued to grow with that and work with yourself and some of the other people that were originally involved with that and building out scopes and hardware and, really flying by the seat of our pants. Anything for, what was it, $1,000 was kind of the joke at the time. We'd take any project on. So really watching that grow, and it's been a pretty good ride as far as that part of it goes.
Good. So you said the DD, we brought the DDs on. What are those?
DDs are smart indicators. They enable us to do, they're fully customizable, fully programmable. And they allowed us to build applications from the ground up using metrological framework provided by our partners in Italy. And really the sky's the limit with it because they're fully programmable. We can do applications that aren't even related to scales if we need to. So we can really take advantage of all the latest and greatest development stacks and things like that are out there today and do a lot with them.
Good. So from when you started to today, there's been a lot of change in the weighing industry, a lot of things going digital. Can you speak to that a little bit? Some of the changes that you've seen during your time just in the weighing industry? Sure. Customer needs, what they ask for.
Yeah. So I think I always relate it to what you can do beyond the 7 digits of weight data, right? People traditionally probably had someone sitting in a scale house or a security guard or something along those lines, punching in some information into a computer, what you would consider like an attended weighment. So Guy gets out of his truck, goes in, BS's for a little bit with some people in the office. And as it's continued to grow, from my perspective, unattended weighing has become more popular. You're trying to get those people out of the scale house or security guard or whatever and have them do more important tasks and allow the drivers to, from an unattended weighing standpoint, allow the drivers to run their own transaction. Same can be said when you're doing, your batching and some of the other things. It's more about, what does this weighment attach to, the transaction attached to the job, to the customer, to the vendor who's bringing material in, taking material out. It's really diverse. But as far as watching that continue to become more and more important, integrating with other systems, pulling data from other systems. So, I mean, it's even in the past couple of years since COVID, it's really boomed as far as data acquisition and getting that data back into some other system without a lot of human interaction.
Yeah. And you speak to larger changes, like you said, in the economy. And what we've seen as a company is, instead of the traditional purchasing manager asking how thick the deck plating is on a scale, they're asking, what can you do with the data, right? And so what has been your role through those changes and some of the changes you've driven and this group has driven in the company?
I think with the group, we've been able to identify needs with not only hardware, but the software part of it. On the hardware side, it's, really peripheral driven, whether it be like RFID cards, barcode scanners, credit card readers, all the different things that would help either collect more data or do that. And then building on top of those pieces where the need arises and driving those pieces home. A lot of times when we develop a new application or a new piece to our application, it's come out of a need of a customer. For instance, the Data Studio application that we use for some basic data manipulation, I call it a glorified Excel spreadsheet, but we originally used that internally to pick apart databases and understand what was going on. And I'm like, we could sell this if we just did these couple extra things here or there, and it turned into a product. And now we sell Data Studio as a product. So just as an example of that.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool things that the group does. Can you speak to some of that we always hear, well, we didn't know you did that. We didn't know we had that. And if you had to name some off the top of your head, what are some of the things that we do?
Yeah. Our bread and butter, I think, as a company is always being able to, not just with software, I think on the scale, we'll build or go out and customize. We'll go understand the needs and try and build that turnkey solution. And we continue to expand on that with engineered solutions and people like Jim Foley and Mike Scott, Sean Razzle, those kinds of people bringing that stuff in. But from a development standpoint and the software side, we will build an application for truck monitoring. As trucks enter your lot and leave your lot, they're not going across the scale, but you want to know who's coming and going from your facility. So we'll do license plate readers and things like that. So, I mean, really, it's a matter of a customer saying, hey, we can't find something to do this. Can you help us build it? And again, we're not shy about saying this isn't really in our wheelhouse. We'll help you find somebody to do that. But I would say 95% of the time we're taking on the job to do customized non-weighing software. That's what we need to do.
And so one of the applications that we sell and support is called ScaleSoft.
Yes.
What is ScaleSoft?
ScaleSoft is a truck management application, weighing management application for some of our industries, be it aggregate, farming, scrap, like your coal or your mining outfits as well.
Can it be customized?
Yeah, can it be? So it's very customizable. I think that's what really sets it apart from other applications in the industry that may be similar to ours or maybe compared to ours. When you're buying ScaleSoft, you're getting all the features and functionality in there. So if we need to tailor it to farming or tailor it to aggregate, we're not having to start over, bolt on something or, go back and ask the customer for X, Y, and Z. The functionality is there and we tweak it and customize it to meet the customer's need, whether it's screen layouts, data collection and things of that nature. And because the developers are in-house. We can take a one-off and build a custom version if for some odd reason it doesn't meet specific needs. Very rarely happens, but again, I think that's what sets ScaleSoft apart from a lot of the other software applications that are in the industry today.
And we can integrate that. Brave.
Yeah, the integration points are endless. We've done a lot of ERP integrations. You could rattle off any of the big ERPs, Dynamics, SAP. Everybody uses QuickBooks, but we've integrated with a lot of those and third-party ones. The ones that you've not heard of before. If there's a way to get the data from or to that ERP system, we've worked to make that happen. And again, it's all about having that development in-house and those people in-house to be able to do those things.
Good. Let's pivot for a minute. We have a product called Scale Suite.
Yes.
Suite. Hard to say exactly in one sentence what that does, but what is Scale Suite?
So Scale Suite technician management tool. Not just technician, but that's kind of where it started. Obviously, you being the original developer of VPI, and really starting us there. We had a product line, the back office product line, and Scale Suite was a combination of both of those. So originally starting as the technician piece where we can send our technicians out to service, do inspections on scales and other products that we have, and provide certs or reports, depending on how you look at that, back to the customers to show that, they've been tested, they've been calibrated, you're getting accurate weighments, and accurate data off of those. So taking that data and collecting it, and with the back office piece and bringing that into it, we started incorporating more of the sales roles, CRM, sales pipeline, and those types of things, making it a really well-rounded suite, if you will, right? Scale Suite of tools.
Sure. Yeah. The premise being how can we help small scale distributors, that everything from safety to training to your quality checks, scheduling.
Yeah, a lot of, I think, and we're in that same boat on the Brechbuhler side, right? It's managing that data. There isn't probably another application out there that does the similar thing that's built specifically for the scale industry right now. So there are a lot of other applications that do certs. Your HVAC, they come in with a tablet these days and have you sign, and they may check some things off, and that's probably a standardized program that's used in other industries. But because of the way the scale industry and the calibration industry on that side of things works as a whole, we saw the need to build something that was really geared towards what we do on the Brechbuhler side of the company, going out servicing PIs and doing those calibrations, and bringing it to, like you said, other distributors that may not have the manpower to go out and build their own, or they're tired of using their Excel spreadsheets to do those same exact things. So really being able to take that and offer it to those distributors, large and small.
Yeah.
I think we've had interest from the owner and a couple of sons on running it to, hey, we've got 6-7 locations that we need help managing this data. What solution do you guys have? And us being able to say, well, this is what we've built based on our experience.
Put you on the spot, but what advice would you give one of those owners or a manager of a company like that to overcome getting off traditional into something more modern?
Yeah, don't be afraid of change. Nobody likes change. I think everybody can agree with that. But to get better, right, you have to accept the help, accept the change. It's going to be painful and it's going to be hard at first. But what you're looking to do in the long run is make that jump to have better data, to be able to do a quick mailer to a specific industry of your customers about a new product line or updated service and things like that, and scouring through business cards and spreadsheets and old things like that just isn't reliable. So don't be afraid to make the jump, to make the change, kind of fight through the hardship that might be part of the change.
Sure. So yeah, I think it's important that you stress that data is becoming very important, and to have every aspect of your business digitized in a sense and in front of you in your fingertips so you can make smart decisions
Right.
is really key.
Right.
And so one of the components in Scale Suite, machine learning, AI is big these days.
Sure.
Everyone talks about it. We have a product called Nexia. And what is Nexia?
So Nexia is the Internet of Things of scales, kind of like I like to describe it. Some people may not know what the Internet of Things is. So to take it to the next level, everything's getting connected. Your TVs, your toasters, your washing machines, your dryer, cars. It's about taking important data points from a piece of hardware and being able to push that somewhere that can then prompt you to engage with that data, whether it be, hey, this scale seems like the calibration may be going, and preemptively getting a hold of your customer and saying, hey, we need to set up a service call and come out and take a look at this. We've noticed it. It's no different than when your newer cars alert you that you got a low tire pressure. Sure. They're trying to let you know that an action is needed. You need to do something about it. And that's really what Nexia does. It collects those important data points from a scale, voltages, your shifts, things of that nature. And it allows us to make calculations. And as you pointed out, AI becomes more important. It will be able to help us continue to engage our distributors and customers that have digital scales to preemptively do things and continue proper maintenance practices on their scales.
And so if you look forward 5 years out, you have a lot of ideas. Maybe don't disclose them all, but what do you see in the weighing industry?
I would say at the beginning, I was a little bit of a skeptic of where AI would probably fit in a company like ours. But the more I explore it and talk with people like Mike, Scott, our training person, and managers, and getting good technicians in and being able to help them easily troubleshoot things. Looking at AI, feeding it PDFs, the language model PDFs, and allowing it to learn to be able to help technicians. I mean, there could be a great benefit just in that space alone. Not to mention some of the other data perks that I talked about, a couple minutes ago, but I could really see something like that being beneficial to not only us, but like we talked about with Scale Suite, being able to offer that to other distributors that may be in the same boat as us, where, you want to keep your guys that have been here a long time, but also share that knowledge that they have with the younger guys that you're bringing on and trying to help out. Because it's hard to be able to say, well, go shadow this guy and allow that knowledge to flow down to that guy. But if you could ask somebody a question, whether it be a real person or something else like a real person, and get troubleshooting steps, or, how do I get to this menu and this scale, those types of things, or this indicator rather, that's a lot of power.
Yeah, agree. You've had a lot of time on the field as a manager, leader in the organization. What are some of the lessons you've learned? Maybe you could pass on.
Don't sign up for T-Mobile.
It's funny.
Lessons I've learned. Patience probably is a virtue that, you've particularly worked with me on, and really stepping back and looking at things. What do I hope to gain from this email, or what do I hope to gain from pulling this person in, and then talking to them about X, Y, or Z, and really thinking about the outcome, I guess, that I want as far as that type of stuff goes. Yeah, I'd say that's probably one of the more important ones. And just understanding people, really working with people. As a manager, I think that's key, especially in my department. I hear it a lot that we run differently or work differently than a lot of the other pieces of the company do. And I would say for the most part, I take pride in that, our group is very close knit. We do things outside of work. We have great relationships inside of work as well. And I think that's key to part of our success.
Mm-hmm. Talk to that a little bit. I wanted to ask you about the culture in the systems group, because it is a little bit different. And every branch has a little bit different of a culture underneath the culture that is the company. But how would you describe culture at systems?
Laid back, but intense. Intense when it needs to be, in the sense that there are days when the phones don't ring at all, and it allows us to really get through a lot of stuff that we may have going on. I had this conversation with somebody the other day where when we're not getting a lot of calls, but you're out at the bench all day and you're just knocking through projects, you're getting things done and crossing stuff off your list. At the end of the day, that sense of accomplishment, even though it feels like you're just running ragged and things like that, you get, man, I just finished a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But then some of that also can lead to where you can have those conversations with the developers or the hardware guys about new and exciting things, what they're passionate about, as simple as sitting down and eating lunch as a group. You find out so much more about not only the people and their hobbies and what they're interested in, but how you can utilize those pieces within the company as well. So I think that's what makes the group kind of dynamic. And when, again, from an outsider's perspective looking in, you hear the people, oh, you guys, all you do is play board games. Because when you walk into our conference room, there's Uno cards, there's board games, there's things scattered all over the, sort of our meeting room. But they don't see the flip side of that either, where, we're 5 or 6 calls deep and somebody's waiting on something, or, you have maybe an irate customer at times. It can be stressful and it can be intense, but it can also be laid back and chill. And we can do an Uno game with maybe a table flip or something in there of some upsetness. But yeah, again, I think it's all relevant. So, doing luncheons, you've probably seen it on the Via or Yammer or whatever it is these days. We're making breakfast quesadillas or some glizzy hot dogs or, some steaks, or we did Japanese, all that stuff is relevant in the sense that, it creates that camaraderie between the group. From an outsider's perspective, it may look like we're goofing off, but again, I think it's all relative.
So another thing in the conference room,
Yeah.
right, besides Uno cards and besides board games,
Yes.
hot sauce.
Yeah, we have a lot of hot sauce.
Who's the champ? Who's eating the hottest?
I'm going to have to say myself.
Okay.
So a lot of the guys have eaten the hot sauce. We will order wings, probably about 30 bottles of hot sauce down there. We've got, you name it, we've got it. So if you watch Hot Ones on YouTube, we've got all the sauces. But we've done the hot chip challenge, which I would not recommend that. If you're,
Okay.
it's a soggy chip. It's gross. We also did the gummy bear challenge, which is like 9 million Scoville. So myself, Freddie and Cody, who used to work with us, all did that. They all threw up. I did a meeting an hour later. So
Really?
yeah, I had to send them to
Viral sides.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think I would ever recommend it to anybody. It was the weirdest sensation for the rest of the day. My stomach was all over the place, but it was interesting. We're standing there with them, and I'm like, I got to see what this is like. So I kind of put it on the tip of my tongue just to see, and my tongue instantly went numb. I'm like, this is not going to be good. So all 3 of us just downed it at the same time.
That's great.
Tried to chew as much as he can to get it broken up into littler pieces so it would hopefully dissolve. But that is the hottest thing. And again, I would never recommend it to anybody. I would never do it again. It was that intense.
Well, that's what makes you a good leader. You do the things that
Yeah.
that others won't do.
Yeah. Basically we had to, I did have to put a kibosh on eating really hot things towards the end of the day. So that way I didn't have to send people home at the beginning of the day.
Yes.
But yeah, to your question, yeah, I'm definitely willing to do whatever. Not necessarily things that people wouldn't do, but to be successful, sometimes you gotta dig a trench with Craig out the parking lot to get the fiber line run to the building.
Yeah.
And have your wife bring your clothes out, because at that time we were still shirt and tie and dress pants. Craig says, "Hey, let's dig a trench. I don't want to pay somebody else to do it." So we went out there and did it. So sometimes you do whatever.
Yeah, it's funny. All right, so we have rapid questions. All right, you ready?
Sure.
How did you get into the weights and measure or scale industry?
Chance call from this person, Dennis Thomas.
Sweet. That's how I got into it. Actually called?
Yeah, you left me a message because I couldn't understand what. I'm like, Brechbuhler, what? What did he say? I didn't know what you said.
Amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
Eat hot things.
Yeah.
Do hard stuff. What's your favorite thing about what you do?
it's different. Every day is different. It's never the same.
What's your least favorite thing?
Oof, paperwork.
You good at paperwork?
Probably not. I could be better. I try to be better a little bit every day on it. There's still a lot of growing room there, I'm sure.
If you could give a newcomer to the industry at any level one piece of advice, what would that be?
Don't be afraid of change. Don't work through it. And I mean, that's goes without saying in any industry, but yeah, don't be afraid of the change. It's going to suck at first, but you're doing it for the right reasons.
What brings you fulfillment in your role?
Seeing that the team, that the company continues to be successful, and knowing that I had a helping hand or got to be a part of that.
Okay. What's something that you take pride in your job?
I would say everything. Whether it's washing the dishes and making the coffee in the morning, and the guys coming in and again, BSing so to speak, to get the day going, to making breakfast quesadillas or glizzies on the grill, to finding a new product, whatever the case may be. Again, all relevant. So every aspect of it, probably.
All right. Good job.